It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Utah women's tennis assistant coach, Blair Shankle. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you got started in college coaching?
Sure. So my fifth year, I was at Baylor, played at Baylor, and I was finishing up my master's in accounting and wanted to be around the team and just loved, my college experience. So I decided to be the student volunteer coach that year and just kind of fell in love with coaching. That year was awesome, and that's just kind of how everything started.
Have you coached anywhere else besides, of course, Baylor?
Yes. I spent 2 years at Ole Miss being the volunteer assist there.
Can you talk about your time at Ole Miss as the volunteer assistant?
Sure. It was great. Really enjoyed my time there. Mark, who's the head coach, and Grant, who's the assistant, were awesome. I learned a ton under them. It was a completely new environment, which is exactly what I wanted. Had great advice from my former college coaches, and they said to, get into a different conference, see different people, see what it's all about. And I went there not really knowing anyone and walked out 2 years later, and it was great. Learned a ton from them. Great team. They built a great culture, and took a lot from what Ole Miss does and trying to use it here at Utah.
Can you talk about, of course, like the transition from being at your alma mater to going to a different school?
Sure. So definitely different. I mean, I played 4 years in my alma mater, so transitioning from being a player to a coach, I kind of already knew the system, knew, what Joey expected, who's the head coach at Baylor. So I kind of had, I guess, a leg up a little bit there. It was pretty easy just to kind of go right into the coaching position and just kind of meet with the girls and just get it going. At Ole Miss, didn't know any of the girls, didn't know the coaches, didn't know anyone in Oxford. So definitely a lot of unknowns to start with, but I mean, I had a great time there. Mark and Grant took me in. They let me have a lot of autonomy, running practices, having individuals with girls, coaching, and just created really great relationships there. So it was a really positive experience.
What was the playing experience like at Baylor?
Sure. It was great. I loved my time at Baylor. Unbelievable experience. I had a couple different coaches throughout the years, assistant coaches anyway. But it was great. Started at line 5, I want to say. Yeah, my freshman year, and ended line 1. So, definitely improved a lot there. The coaches were great. The support staff was incredible. And, just tennis side, it was great. And I learned and grew a lot, but also, academically as well. Super supportive. And it was just a really good all around experience.
What did you accomplish at Ole Miss during your time?
At Ole Miss, I definitely took one of the doubles teams with a freshman and junior and got them to preseason ranked, I want to say, top 16. They also made the finals of regionals. And then, just a lot of the girls I worked with singles, just, records got better, played more confidently. A couple girls got into like All-Americans, so stuff like that. But, just a lot of improvement there. And it's not just me, obviously. It was Grant and Mark and the whole staff, and it was just really like a team effort.
Can you talk about what it was like transitioning to Utah?
Sure. I mean, it was definitely different during these times with COVID and everything. Rick and I had talked a lot, through the process of me getting hired, and I had a really good feeling about him, and I thought our styles would be very similar, which they are, which is awesome. So the transition in that regard was very easy, but I had never been to Utah before I took the job, so definitely different. Seen snow for the first time. I've driven in snow for the first time, so a little hesitant on that, but so far so good. But Utah's been great. Super supportive here. courts are awesome, girls are awesome. It's a great culture. Rick has done an incredible job. And so the transition has been pretty seamless in that regard. COVID has, thrown a couple of wrenches in it, but other than that, it's been great.
What do you plan on accomplishing in your first year at Utah?
Sure. Rick and I talked a lot about that, just coming in and just trying to figure out what we wanted to do with this year. Fall, we couldn't play any tournaments. That was just, Pac-12 conference guidance. And so that was fine. So we really just want to focus on just building the team and practice and really even getting even a better culture and honestly integrating myself in that culture because, I was the new kid on the block. But it's been great. One of my big goals was getting to know the girls, really well one-on-one so that, it's not just about tennis, but trying to help them through the college experience and be a mentor to them as well. So for that, that's kind of more like the off-court goals, I would say. And I think it's been great. The team's incredible. I've really enjoyed them. They've embraced me, which has been awesome. But on court, just a lot of goals. We really want to make a run for the NCAAs and try and get a bid there, make that. And then I know all the girls we've talked to, have individual goals, whether it be record or lineup or rankings or, individual NCAA. So, we're a very driven team. We're a very competitive team. And so there's a lot of things we want to accomplish and we just got to, day in, day out, just get 1% better every day. So that's kind of how we look at it and approach it. And then we'll see where we are in May, but super excited to get season started.
Can you talk about, of course, what you plan to help build at the Utah women's tennis culture?
Yeah. I think Rick has done an incredible job being there. He's really instilled like the family atmosphere and I just want to keep enhancing that with me being here. I love the family atmosphere. I think it's really important. You spend the most time, with your teammates, with your coaches. And so it needs to be that second family. So I really just want to be, a good influence on the girls and Rick and I, balance each other out really well. So just kind of just making everything, maybe just a little bit better, hopefully with my presence and just working on that culture, but also, the grittiness of playing and the competitiveness. The girls already have it, but for me as a player, that was me. I was very, very competitive. I never wanted to lose. And so I really try and instill that into the girls and just, practice as hard as you're going to play. Preparation is key. So I think that was one of the things I've really brought. Rick has always been that as well, but just kind of having, two coaches with that same philosophy and mentality, I think is always a good thing.
Can you talk about, of course, as a player, a former player and now a coach, how has that helped you in your coaching career?
I think it's helped a ton. I've pretty much been anywhere these girls have been or gonna go or an experience or anything like that. I had a great career at Baylor, but I had a lot of ups and downs. Had a lot of injuries. I had surgery I had to come back from. I had a pretty rigorous academic schedule. I took mini masters and I was in my master's during my senior year. So I understand, the good, bad, and ugly of college athletics. It's hard sometimes. And so I've been through the highs and I've been through the lows and, how it all goes. And so I just feel like there's a lot of things that hopefully I can help them navigate and, just kind of be just someone to listen, and help them get through whatever they need to, obviously be the person who's going to be extremely happy when they do something incredible and just be right there with them. And then also someone who can kind of steady the ship when, tough things happen. It's, you've gotten 4 hours because you've been studying for this test or you're stressing with finals or you're stressing with this or with that. And, I've definitely been through all of those things. Not always fun, but just part of life.
Can you talk about, of course, the recruitment process? I know that in tennis, it's more of an individual sport than
Sure.
team sport, but what do you look for in tennis players in high school?
I think at Utah, just in general, obviously we want to get the best player we can get on court. I think anyone wants to do that. So we definitely look for, ability. We look for different things on court. And that's super important. But also just with, the culture we have, we really look at the whole person, on court, off court, everything. And so we really try and get to know the recruits well. Right now we can't go see them and can't bring them in with, the restrictions. So, there's been a lot of calls, a lot of FaceTimes, stuff like that, just to really try and get a rapport with them, get to know them get to know us and just see if it's a good fit. We want someone who loves tennis, is passionate about it, wants to be on a team, wants to be, part of a team and help the team. And that's a huge thing for me. It's a huge thing for Rick and just hardworking be prepared, just, all the things. But I would just say, like, we're very much like an all around, recruiting type situation, as to just, oh, this girl's an incredible player, we have to get her. Of course, that's what we want, but we also want the intangibles to come along with it.
Whenever, of course, before COVID on official visits, what would a tennis official visit look like?
It depends on the girls you bring in. Obviously, you're going to show them the facilities. We have a great, facility. We have 8 indoor courts. We have 6 outdoor courts. Where everything for us is basically walking distance, like 1 to 2 minutes max. Like for an athletic dining hall, for our strength conditioning, where we go and meet the coach there, for our athletic training room. So all those things, you show them all that. You show them the dorms where they're going to stay, which are great. Show them campus. You show them the beautiful sights, because the campus is kind of on a hill, so you get to look downtown and you see mountains around. So it's pretty picturesque. And then, we have great food here, so we'll go out to eat. We'll chat. We'll try and get some girls, or at least the host, to come with us. So they get to meet the team, and that's just kind of what we do. It's showing them everything Utah has to offer, but also just trying to get to know them even better in person.
What are some of your future plans for, of course, the upcoming season?
Sure. So really excited. We get to go and play our first college tournament. It starts Monday, actually. So we're just preparing for that right now. But for this year, we have a great schedule lined out. So we just want to try and be as successful as we can, be competitive as we can. And I think we have a really good chance of making NCAA. So, every match is huge for us, and we're looking forward to just getting out there and playing. It's been almost a year for these girls to have played, a match that we could go and watch. So I think everyone's just super excited to get out there and compete and just see where it is. But I'm really looking forward to this year.
What advice would you give upcoming high school tennis players looking to play in college?
Sure. I think first and foremost, I think it's super important to get out there and play tournaments. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Go play matches, no matter if it's, rankings are a big deal and UTRs, and you don't want to lose to someone who's not as good and this and that. I understand, but we're looking more for the person and who competes hard and who fights. And so get out there, play, work hard every day. Just know some days aren't going to be great, but sometimes you just have to push through. That's how it is in life. And then on the other side of it, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Don't be afraid to reach out to college coaches, email us, talk to us, call us, ask us questions. We're here to help you guys find the right fit. And hopefully, that's us at Utah. But if it's not, you'll figure that out as the recruiting process goes. But it's never a bad thing to reach out when you have a question, and be proactive in the recruiting process.
What advice would you give upcoming tennis coaches looking to get on the college level?
Sure. I guess this one is as much advice, but I think first things first, you have to be super passionate about tennis. You can tell people who are passionate about it and who excel, in college tennis, because it's an unbelievable job and I love it, but it's not the easiest job ever, with the hours and the travel and everything. So you really have to be passionate about it and just work hard every day, want to be on the courts grinding with the girls, want to be, recruiting, want to be on those trips. I think it's huge, because if you have a passion, it's going to show and you're really going to excel. But I think another huge thing, and I'm really glad I listened to my college coaches, is don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Like, I left pretty much, my little bubble, Baylor bubble structure, and I went to Ole Miss, somewhere I had never been, just to see a different place and just completely immerse myself and just get after it. I think, whatever you do, you got to go 100% into it. Have people in your corner that you trust, ask for advice, and then just really try and reach out to, programs that you want to be a part of. If it's a volunteer assist, be that person who steps out and says, hey, like, is there an opportunity or anything like that? And then go from there. That was the path I took. There are a lot of different paths you can take. Sometimes you take the assistant job immediately right out of college, and it's awesome. And I've known people to do that too. So a lot of different paths, but just really make sure you're passionate about it, you want it, and just have some people that can give you some advice. I had great people in my corner.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with Utah women's tennis program at?
I'm sorry, you cut out. I'm sorry, what?
Where can I find you at on social media, along with the women's tennis program?
Sure. So I actually have, I think, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I guess I'm on all of them. I think it's just my name, Blair Shankle. And then for Utah, it's just Utah Women's Tennis on all of them as well.
Thank you again, Blair, for your interview, and best of luck in your future in this upcoming year.
Thanks so much for having me on.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Blair, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.